Hello and welcome everyone to another episode of Beyond the Forecast. I'm StormTracker8 forecaster Tyler Hull here on this Friday, February 20th already. And this afternoon, I'm joined by our very own chief meteorologist, Matt DiNardo. Matt, how are you doing today?
I'm doing well, Tyler. We had the rain yesterday, a little bit this morning, and now we're getting at least some breaks of sun, so kind of nice. But, of course, all eyes on Sunday as you were looking at with Jessica this morning. Then I came in. We're looking at it. We have some minor adjustments to that forecast, but really we're going to be talking a lot about what is happening with this Sunday deal.
Yeah, and speaking of snow, on this date last year, and also back in 1947, Matt, for the Richmond area, there was a couple of winter storms.
Yeah, 2 to 7 inches and 20 to 25 across Metro Richmond. Once again, one of those deals where, you know, east and northeast got a little bit less than southwest and western areas. I can't tell you that I remember 1947 since I was born in 1971. So
yeah, I'm with you on that one. Yeah, I don't remember, obviously, the 47, but yes, I do remember last year, we had a couple of winter storms last winter. I'd say this winter has definitely been more active, though, to say the least.
It's been really wild this winter. Nothing has gone according to plan. And not that there's really ever a plan. Let's put that out, right? But I mean, usually the weather models that we use are pretty good.
Right.
These models have just been god-awful. And people have asked me, and I take a little tangent here, Tyler, I'm sorry.
Sure.
People have asked, do we think it's because of the cutbacks that happened back, a year ago, 24?
Yeah, to Noah. And, yeah.
And so the answer is really no. And not that I'm 100% certain, but okay. So the cutbacks were about 750 to 800 jobs in Noah, right? In the overall system of things. But the modeling that we use today was kind of set in stone. There's always some little things that are done, but those aren't being developed. Some of the new models that are trying to be developed, those cutbacks affected. And then quietly, after those cutbacks happened with Doge, there was an open hiring by the National Weather Service to replenish about 450 to 500 jobs. Now, look, that's still a cutback of about 30%, right, or even more.
Right.
So that's significant. But I really think what the models are having trouble with, whether you look at the NAM, the GFS, the European, whatever, we came out of La Nina. We had 2 sudden stratospheric warming events, and one day we're going to talk about what that is on Beyond the Forecast when the weather gets a little quieter. Basically, high in the sky, we have different levels. There's the stratosphere. It got super warm.
Yeah.
What that does is it breaks apart the polar vortex and sends weather patterns into a major chaotic flux. And our models are not built to handle that. Like, they're built to handle slow changes, not really rapid changes in a global scale. So I think really the difficulty has been that part. Major global scale disruptions causing huge issues with our weather models. And then at times, look, we use the models to make a forecast, and it can make us look stupid. I get that, right? And sometimes that happens. So this was one of those times where, and we'll talk about this, we have a really good idea, but it's still a low confidence forecast, and we'll talk about
on Sunday's situation. So obviously that's the big focus today, is focusing on that Sunday weather system coming in a couple of days and lingering into early Monday morning. So big picture of things, we have this ongoing weather system that brought those showers today, and looking out through the windows here in the podcast room, we have a little bit of sunshine peeking on through. So the rest of today looking pretty good, Matt.
I like that for sure. And then, of course, you look back toward the Rockies, right over the state of Colorado. That is the system that in part is coming to us. The second part of that, if you look just where that high pressure is in North Dakota, you see the snow showers in North Dakota, then in Canada. There's a little wave that's going to drop down into the Ohio Valley. And that, combined with that system coming out of Denver, gives us our, let's call it what it is, a winter storm for Sunday.
Yeah, winter storm. Again, mainly a rain event, but we'll get into that in just a little bit here on Beyond the Forecast. So looking at the rest of today and a good portion of Saturday, Matt, we're looking good. We're going to be drying out, so that's good news, right?
I love it. If you have plans tonight, dinner, movie, whatever the case is, you're absolutely fine.
Yeah, so that weather system that we saw brought rain yesterday and this morning. That pushes out into the Western Atlantic Ocean. We have this new system developing in the southeast throughout the day on Saturday, Matt.
Yeah, clouds will increase and we'll run the risk of some spotty showers. That does not mean an all-day rainout. That means you'll probably get things done outside if you have to. If you're driving around, you might have to put the wipers on at a time or two, but that's really about it. Then those clouds really begin to thicken up. Now, you can see the big low off the coast here, right, of North Carolina. And now see the way the blow-up of rain is happening over us early Sunday morning. This is that next wave coming to interact with this Gulf moisture or Atlantic moisture and Gulf moisture that sets the stage for our Sunday. And you kind of gave a little hint there. You're going to wake up Sunday morning to some rain.
Yeah, and it could be steady to heavy at times. Looks like another rainy Sunday across the area. So we'll talk more about Sunday in just a little bit. But here are kind of the fine details, if you will, that we were discussing just minutes ago. So, again, it starts early Sunday morning. We'll see falling temperatures. And then there's going to be a changeover from that chilly rain to a wintry mix and snow here, Matt.
And that's going to be the issue, right? So there's two really outlined questions right now. Okay, how quickly does that storm form off the coast, right? With that new vort coming in, that new weather feature coming in.
Yep.
And how rapidly does that strengthen? And then I guess there's a third one. Where exactly does that form, right? So we have an idea it's going to form off of northern North Carolina, southeastern Virginia. But if it's closer or further away, that makes a difference. And if it strengthens rapidly, that pulls down the cold air faster. And so those are some details that are still out there that are tough. So, yes, as you read there, Tyler, right, because we were just talking about this, we're going to have rain, temperatures fall as that system's forming. You get that mix to snow, and then we start to see this change over to all snow. But so the mix might begin 4 to 6 p.m., and then after 6 p.m. it might be all snow. But those times are really, they're not set in stone. That's the issue. Yeah.
Yeah, and, obviously we'll get another look later on today and throughout the day tomorrow and Sunday morning as the confidence in this forecast continues to grow.
And then, of course, the last line there, accumulation's possible. And that's, everybody wants to know, what am I getting, right? You're getting a mess is what you're getting, okay?
Yeah, a mess of rain first. So let's talk about that. So this is Sunday at 8 o'clock. Definitely seeing basically widespread rain across central Virginia. But looking back to Charlottesville and Harrisonburg, they're going to be seeing that changeover Sunday morning.
Yeah, there'll be some cold air locked in the Shenandoah Valley, so you will see some of that mix. But I think what happens as this kind of goes in time, you see some of that change over to rain, except for the higher elevations of the Shenandoah Valley. And, I mean, we're pouring buckets here, Tyler. Now, this is, okay, so here we got a really good stopping point where you stopped it, because now we're at 4 p.m., and you're seeing this deep blue over Richmond, Tappahannock, Fredericksburg, and even down to, let's say, almost Waverly and Wakefield. This is, and you see the arrows coming down, right?
From the north. Yep.
So, actually, if you, I wish we could telestrate here, but if you look at those arrows, look at the circular nature just to the east of the Cape. That's our new developing low, right?
Yes.
So, in this model, which is our Barron Viper Futurecast model, if this is 50 miles east, the moisture is going to be less. If it's 50 miles west, yes, we'll have more moisture, but we'll be warmer. So there's a real big difference here in that. But, okay, so let's take this as if it's, true to form. Cold air is coming down. We're now switching that rain over to snow. And we may have, and Tyler, you've seen this as you grew up in the Northeast, those huge flakes, like $half flakes, because the moisture content is going to be so amazing at this point.
Yeah, this is not expected to be light, fluffy snow. This is expected to be wet snow because, again, it's going to be above freezing to start this event. And, it'll be warm leading up to it. The ground's going to be warm. The roads are going to be wet, as we've been talking about. So that's going to be a major player with this, too.
And that also, when we get to the snowfall forecast, we'll talk about that. That brings into some issues with the amount of snow we may get. You just said the warm ground, the rain, and all that. Then
Right.
you got here 7 more hours after that snow. And notice now, we're already on the back edge of this snow, right? That lighter blue from Tappahannock to Fredericksburg to Richmond, that's like really light stuff and almost tapering off. Everything that's real steady is eastern Northern Neck, eastern Middle Peninsula, all the way through the Chesapeake Bay, and of course, the Delmarva, and then north into Jersey at this point.
Right. So again, two big stories with this. Obviously, the hours of chilly rain and then hours of that transition over to wet snow, rain, snow across the area.
And then finally by 7 a.m. Monday morning, we're seeing some backlash moisture. This might be overdone here, just so everybody understands. We do think we'll get to some sunshine during Monday, so that is great news. All right, so
here's the rain part of it.
Yeah. I mean, we are going to get soaked. Many of us are going to pick up at least a half inch to an inch of rain, if not more. So already our roads are going to be super wet. And even though, as we talked about, temperatures falling, we're starting off maybe early in the day in the low 40s and by the afternoon, upper 30s. That's going to be warm enough to keep our roads warm and our ground warm as well. So the snow, when we talk about that, will have trouble adhering at first. It'll certainly stick to the grasses and the decks, but I think roads are going to be okay. But this is a lot of rain on top of what we just had last Sunday and even what we just had yesterday as well.
Right. Yeah. So everything is going to be soaking wet, so that's going to be a huge factor in obviously the snow part of this forecast. As we get into that now, we were just updating this. Again, between now and Sunday, obviously the confidence in this forecast will continue to grow, but right now this is our latest thinking here, Matt.
It is. And look, read the box, folks. This is it's a low confidence snowfall forecast. And look, we're not saying that so, if we get, 0, we can say, hey, we said it was low confidence. The reason why it's low confidence has to do with the things we talked about. The exact strengthening of that low and the positioning of the low, how quickly that cold air gets in here. Those are still outlying issues, right? So that's something that we're watching carefully. And of course, the limiting factor for the snow in terms of accumulation is going to be how much rain we get, how wet that ground is going to be. But that's also good because it should keep the roadways fine for those thinking, oh, is school going to be canceled on Monday or delayed, or am I getting to work? I think all of those things are probably, you're fine, right? You're getting to work fine. Schools here, I can never guess it, right? The moment they see a flake, they cancel school. We cannot afford to cancel any more school. We were out for some schools over 2 weeks or nearly 2 weeks just a couple of weeks ago. So I think the roads will be fine. I would probably say maybe some delays, but that kind of a thing.
Yeah, I would agree with you on that. Probably some 2-hour delays in certainly the northern neck counties, probably a good bet. But in Metro Richmond and the areas that are expected to see very little snow, probably still going to have school on Monday.
Yeah, I think you're exactly right. I think we will have school on Monday.
But again, we're not part of the school board, so we don't make those decisions.
We're not, but people always look to us. What do you think is going to happen? I mean, if I'm as I once posted, everybody should be happy I'm not a superintendent somewhere because you're going to school no matter what, right? And that's just my mentality that school is so important. Learning is so important.
It is.
And somebody's going to say, yeah, but you're endangering the lives of the kids. Look, I'm not trying to endanger the lives of the kids. I was just raised in a different environment where unless there was a foot of snow on the ground, we were going, right? So
same here.
Right. So
even in college, too. Same thing.
Whole thing of, mention snow when school is canceled. Let's see exactly what happens first, So anyway,
Yeah,
that's what we're looking at there. So all right. So I was going to ask if we go back to that map. I'm sorry, Tyler.
All good. Because we did. We're going to do a further breakdown of all the threats.
Let's take it full so everybody gets an idea.
Yeah.
So, okay. So if you're in Henrico County, if you're in the city of Richmond, you're in Petersburg, you're in Williamsburg, you're in Chesterfield, you're in that gray area. That's Goochland, Powhatan, most of Louisa County, Amelia, even up to Cumberland, Prince Edward County, Nottoway County. This is a dusting to 2, right? And so dusting farther south and west, 2 inches possible Richmond through Henrico, Chesterfield. Okay, that's kind of what we're looking at there. Then you get into that purple area. So that's New Kent, that's Hanover County, it's Caroline, Spotsylvania, King William, King and Queen, Middlesex, all of the Northern Neck is 2 to 4. And I will state that the Northern Neck and Northern Middle Peninsula, places like Urbana and Saluda, scare me the most with this storm because your cold air is going to come in quicker.
Yes.
And you could end up on the upper end of that in that 3-4 category. And notice just on the other side of the Chesapeake Bay, what we're looking at for Salisbury, Maryland, and Delaware, 4 to 8. And then if you look above where it says accumulations, you look at that's Jersey and all, that's 8 to 12. That's how close it is to really getting some pretty large snows here. In Central Virginia. You know, when you, again, drive time, it's a different story because traffic and all, but straight line, it's not far off. So there are some very nuances here that we're looking at that make this forecast very difficult to kind of go through there, Tyler. I'm sorry, I'm going on a tangent here.
No, all good. No, it's good to have that breakdown for sure. So that's what we're looking at. And here are the threats. We were talking about this as well. So obviously the rain going to be a huge factor on Sunday, then that transition to snow. It is going to get a little bit windy late Sunday and Monday as the system is pulling away. And something that we will talk about as well the next couple of days is we're not expecting widespread power outages here, Matt.
Right. You mentioned that this is going to be a wet snow, and it will be. But I think the amounts are going to be under the threshold of really seeing it accumulate a ton on power lines and branches and things to snap them and cause widespread power outage. So, and the wind that you mentioned there and is really more for the back end of the storm as it's pulling away. It's not during the storm.
Right. Yeah, winds are expected to be light on Sunday, but it's really Sunday night, Monday morning that the winds are going to kick up as the system continues to push into the Northeast. The Northeast could be in for quite the snowstorm out of this.
Yeah, they really could be. I mean, if you have friends and family in Jersey, Philly, New York City, Long Island, Connecticut, Rhode Island, southern Massachusetts, there may be some areas there that see a foot or more of snow. Yeah, it's a big deal.
That and the wind for them.
Right, because once it starts cranking, see, that's the thing. Like, we're right on the edge of it developing, but we know once it goes north and east of us, it's going to crank as a genuine nor'easter. I mean, just a ripping nor'easter. So, yeah.
Right, yeah. So they'll be dealing with the strong northeasterly winds, particularly on Monday morning, Monday afternoon as it's pulling away. So this is the latest 8-day forecast. We're going to be seeing improving conditions the rest of today. Temperatures rising into the 60s. Tomorrow looks pretty decent. Sunday again, going to be a wet day, and then that transition to that mix and snow, Matt.
Yeah, and I want people to look at this 8-day forecast because unlike when we had the previous systems and we had Arctic air come in and settle in and lock everything down and create the ice rink across the region, that is not the case with this storm. Yes, we'll have some nights at or below freezing, but every day we're going to be above freezing and by Wednesday in the low 50s. So melting is going to happen pretty quickly with this. Yeah, so it's more of a Virginia snow, if you all know what I mean, right? It doesn't last for weeks like we just had.
Yeah, that's a very good point, Matt. We will be warming up quite a bit. Lots of melting, obviously, happening on Monday. Maybe areas such as the Northern Neck may kind of have that snow linger into Tuesday, perhaps, but outside of that, I think it'll be gone pretty quickly.
Yeah,
in a couple of days,
which should be fine. I think there's a lot of people saying, I'm done. I've had enough, and I get it, right? I mean, this is why I always have canceled snow, but this year it didn't agree with me. So what can you do?
Yeah, it's been quite the winter around Virginia. And, of course, coming up in a couple of hours, Matt will have, obviously, all the latest on the winter storm on Sunday into Sunday night. And, of course, stay with us, of course, on WRC Plus, on air, online, all that good stuff through the weekend as we track the system.